In the rivers of Costa Rica, there is an animal that hunts crocodiles underwater, in their own territory, by ambushing them from beneath the surface. The same animal takes on caimans, sea turtles, wild boars, and even other big cats that wander into its range. And most of the time, its prey never sees it coming. How does a land predator learn to hunt inside a river? How does it take down an animal built like a tank? How does it move through water quietly enough that a crocodile doesn't feel it coming? This is the jaguar, and unlike any other big cat on Earth, it hunts in the water. It dives, it swims, and it ambushes from below. Deeper in the same forest, there's a bird that spots a predator stalking it and doesn't fly away. It just swings its tail slowly, back and forth, until the predator gives up and walks off. A lizard here runs across 15 feet of open river on the surface of the water to escape a threat. And an insect colony, a few miles inland, farms a crop underground that exists nowhere else on the planet. This is Costa Rica, and the strangest thing living here is something you haven't heard yet. In the rainforests of Costa Rica, certain trees hold a secret that stops visitors in their tracks. Not because of danger, but because of what hangs from every branch. These are the hanging nests of the Montezuma Oropendola, woven baskets of grass and vine that dangle up to 6 feet long, swaying gently like lanterns in the wind. A single colony can hold over 100 of these nests, all clustered on just 1 or 2 tall trees, chosen specifically for being isolated, harder for predators to reach. Each nest takes a female up to 2 weeks to weave, looping and knotting thousands of individual plant fibres together without a single tool, just her beak. The entrance is always at the very top, forcing any intruder to climb the full length of the nest before reaching the eggs, like a clever built-in alarm system. Local communities in Costa Rica have long called these trees Árboles de la Vida, or trees of life, because the nests never fully empty, season after season, year after year. And ruling over these swaying nests is the architect herself, the Montezuma Oropendola, a colonial bird whose loud, bubbling calls carry through the forest like nothing else. That call isn't just noise. The male throws his entire body into it, bowing forward so deeply he nearly goes upside down, wings spread wide, like he's performing a dramatic bow on stage. Females are completely unimpressed unless the performance is perfect, which means only the strongest, most dominant males ever get to breed. The Montezuma Oropendola is one of the largest blackbirds, with males standing out for their chestnut body, bright yellow tail, and an orange-tipped bill that looks almost painted. That colourful bill isn't just for looks. It doubles as a precision tool, used to probe flowers and peel fruit from branches high in the Costa Rican canopy. These birds tolerate bees and wasps nesting nearby because the insects keep botflies away from their chicks, a survival strategy that comes down to choosing the right neighbours. Chicks that hatch next to a wasp nest are measurably healthier than those that don't, which means nest location isn't luck. It's a life or death decision. Predators like toucans and capuchin monkeys raid nests regularly, but the colony's sheer size works as a defence. With dozens of birds present, a thief rarely gets away unnoticed. Moving through those same treetops, often just branches away, is another small but bold creature, the Central American squirrel monkey. Don't let the size fool you. This monkey weighs less than 2 pounds, yet travels up to a mile every day through the canopy without breaking a sweat. They never travel alone. Squirrel monkeys move in groups of up to 70 individuals, making them one of the most social primates in Central America. That group isn't just for company. Dozens of extra eyes scanning the treetops mean the difference between spotting a hawk in time and becoming lunch. Their biggest threats come from above. Harpy eagles and ornate hawk eagles target them specifically, which is why they almost never stay still or silent for long. Here's what makes them genuinely strange. Males gain weight so rapidly before mating season that they nearly double in size, bulking up like they're training for a competition. Females, on the other hand, raise their young almost entirely without male help, carrying infants on their backs from the very first day. Their diet is surprisingly varied. Fruit, insects, small lizards, and even bird eggs taken quickly on the move with no time wasted. Before the next push through the canopy, the group pauses, gathering close, grooming, playing and eating, while keeping one eye on the trees above. Grooming isn't just about staying clean, It's how squirrel monkeys build trust, settle arguments, and decide who their closest allies are. Babies in the group get passed around freely, with females other than the mother taking turns holding and carrying infants, essentially running a shared daycare in branches. Young monkeys play rough, chasing, wrestling, and tumbling through branches in ways that look completely reckless, but every tumble is actually training their balance and coordination for life in the canopy. When a dispute breaks out, they have one of the strangest threat displays in the primate world. They urinate on their own hands and rub it on their feet to mark themselves as dominant. Despite the chaos, the group stays tightly coordinated. A single sharp alarm call from any member freezes everyone instantly, no matter what they were doing. Yet even in the safety of the canopy, constant movement comes with risk, because hidden below, silent hunters are always watching. The ocelot is one of the country's most elusive predators, a small wild cat that moves through dense forests so quietly, the only sign it was ever there is a paw print in the mud. Its coat is covered in chain-like blotches that break up its outline perfectly against dappled forest light, making it nearly impossible to spot until it strikes. This cat doesn't just rely on speed, it will lie completely still on a tree branch, waiting for the right moment to move. At night, its eyes reflect available light so efficiently that it can hunt in near total darkness, tracking prey by scent and sound alone. It needs a steady supply of meat each day to survive, which means it's hunting almost every night without fail. In Costa Rica, ocelots are actually one of the jaguar's most common prey animals, a reminder that even skilled hunters are not always at the top. Somewhere nearby, a creature even smaller operates by the same rules, waiting, hidden, and perfectly still. The praying mantis is so good at blending into leaves and stems that it can sit motionless for hours in the forest without a single passing insect noticing it's there. It is the only insect in the world that can turn its head a full 180 degrees, giving it a field of vision no other bug can match. That neck rotation isn't just impressive. It means the mantis can track moving targets without shifting its body a single millimetre, keeping its cover completely intact. What makes it genuinely terrifying at small scale is speed. Its front legs strike faster than the human eye can follow, completing a full strike in under 50 milliseconds. A praying mantis doesn't just hunt by sight. It also detects ultrasonic sounds, which lets it sense approaching bats in complete darkness and dodge mid-flight. Here's the plot twist nobody expects. The female sometimes eats the male after mating, and bizarrely, the male's body often continues the mating process even after his head is gone. Baby mantises, called nymphs, hatch by the hundreds from a single egg case and immediately start hunting, some of them hunting each other first. This microscopic ambush predator shares its forest with far more colourful targets. And when a butterfly drifts too close, the wait is finally over. What makes them especially clever is that the mantis often positions itself directly on flowers that butterflies are already drawn to, essentially setting a trap inside a trap. The mantis doesn't lunge wildly. It calculates the exact moment to strike, adjusting its aim in real time as the butterfly moves, like a tiny guided missile locked onto its target. Those spiked forelegs snap shut so precisely that they pin both wings simultaneously, preventing any chance of escape from the very first millisecond of contact. The butterfly's bright colours, which usually warn other predators of toxins, mean nothing here. What happens next is not for the faint of heart. The mantis begins feeding while the prey is still alive, focusing first on the most energy-rich parts. A butterfly's wings offer no nutrition at all, so the mantis casts them aside and moves to the body. Sometimes even the wings are consumed, slowly, methodically, with the same calm focus it had while waiting. Spiders, birds, and even bats prey on mantises, so eating out in the open is always a calculated risk. Every meal is also a moment of vulnerability. The entire meal can take up to an hour, and the mantis stays completely alert throughout, still scanning for both incoming prey and approaching threats. The Costa Rican forest produces no shortage of butterflies to fill that role, with hundreds of species moving through the canopy and understory every single day. But not every butterfly here becomes a meal. One species has perfected the art of survival, and its secret is written across its wings. The blue Morpho is one of Costa Rica's largest butterflies, with a wingspan of up to 8 inches. Its sudden blue glint through the trees visible from far away. That electric blue isn't pigment at all. The wings have no blue colour, only microscopic nanostructures that bend light into a vivid blue. In flight, the wings shift from brilliant blue to dull brown with every beat, making the butterfly appear and vanish so quickly, predators struggle to follow. Flip the wing, and the blue disappears into dull, brown, eye-like spots meant to startle predators, while a final defence is a foul-smelling chemical released from glands on its front legs. Local legend says a prince was turned into a blue Morpho, doomed to fly the forest forever searching for his lost love, mirroring its real habit of flying alone in search of a mate. Its entire adult life lasts just 115 days, a brief burst of electric blue moving through the forest, gone almost as soon as it appears. Moving through the same trees, watching for a flicker of colour in the canopy, is the rufous-tailed Jacamar, a sleek, jewel-bright hunter that specialises in catching blue Morphos. At first glance, this bird looks more like a hummingbird than a predator. Its feathers shimmer green and copper in the sunlight, making it one of the most eye-catching hunters in the forest. Its body is metallic green above and bold orange below, with a white throat in males and a buff throat in females, making the two sexes easy to tell apart. That long, needle-sharp beak isn't for probing flowers. It's a precision tool, built to snatch fast-moving insects clean out of the air. It even targets wasps and bees, snatching them mid-flight and beating the stinger off before swallowing. The Jacamar hunts from a fixed perch, staying motionless for long stretches before launching into a sudden burst of speed when prey comes within range. It can catch a butterfly mid-flight and return to the same perch in under 2 seconds, a level of precision most birds can't match. Before eating a butterfly, it beats the insect against its perch, stripping away the wings and dislodging toxins. That technique isn't perfect from the start. Younger birds have to learn it, often dropping prey before mastering the motion. From here, the forest deepens. The calls grow louder. And what comes next will rearrange your understanding of what a voice can do. The mantled howler monkey produces the loudest call of any land animal in the Americas, a low, rolling roar that carries up to 3 miles through the Costa Rican rainforest. That sound doesn't come from sheer lung power. It comes from a hollow, enlarged bone in the throat that works like a built-in amplifier. Troops call at dawn, not in aggression, but to broadcast their position to neighbouring groups. A simple, "We're here, keep your distance," before breakfast. Despite that terrifying roar, howlers are among the forest's most laid-back primates, spending up to 80% of the day motionless, conserving energy from a low-fuel, leaf-heavy diet. Leaves are so nutritionally poor that they have an unusually large, specialised stomach to ferment and break them down, basically carrying a slow cooker everywhere they go. Their prehensile tail acts as a 5th limb, strong enough to hold their full weight while both hands feed, a grip they trust with their lives. Males are jet black, while females are a warm golden brown, making this one of the few monkey species where you can tell the sexes apart from a distance without binoculars. Right at the centre of this troop, quieter than anything else in the area, is the next generation, a tiny howler clinging to its mother, watching, learning, and slowly finding its place in the group. A baby is born with pale golden fur, completely different from the black coat it will grow into as an adult, making it easy for every member of the troop to spot and protect. For the first several months of life, the baby stays pressed against its mother, gripping her fur as she climbs, feeds, and rests through the Costa Rican canopy. The mother does all of this one-handed, literally using 3 limbs to move through branches, while the 4th keeps her infant secure against her chest. Other females in the troop show intense interest in newborns, often reaching out to touch and groom them. By around 4 months old, the youngster begins tasting leaves on its own, copying exactly which ones its mother selects. Below, far beneath them, something sits perfectly still in the shadows. The Motmot, a calm and watchful bird that has turned patience into its greatest survival skill. This bird doesn't announce itself. It perches motionless in the dense shade of the understory, sometimes for hours, completely invisible to anything passing through. The only thing that gives it away is a long racket-tipped tail hanging below the branch, swaying in a slow, steady rhythm, like a clock that never hurries. That tail swing isn't nervous habit. It is a deliberate message aimed directly at any predator watching. I've already seen you, and you won't catch me. This behaviour is one of the only known examples of a bird voluntarily communicating with a predator instead of simply fleeing from it. A negotiation, not a chase. Both sides actually benefit. The Motmot skips an exhausting escape, and the predator skips a futile one, in a rare moment where hunter and prey silently agree to move on. That famous tail looks sculpted, but it never shapes it. Weak barbs fall away on their own through daily wear, leaving the bare shaft and racket tip without a single deliberate pull. When it hunts, it drops from its perch in a sudden, precise dive, snatching lizards, large insects and even small frogs off the ground before returning to the same branch. Pairs dig nesting burrows up to 5 feet long into earthen banks, raising their chicks underground in total darkness. Where the Motmot works the shadows, the next resident does the opposite, climbing to the highest exposed branch and placing itself in the strongest available light. The green iguana isn't warming up for comfort. It's charging up like a battery, because without enough external heat, its muscles won't function, and its digestion shuts down completely. That colour isn't fixed. It shifts with body temperature, meaning the same animal can look noticeably different from morning to midday. In western Costa Rica, these reptiles aren't even green. They're a bold red-orange, a regional variation found almost nowhere else in their range. Right on top of the skull is a third eye with a simple lens and retina. It can't form images, but it detects overhead light and shadow changes, triggering an instant predator alarm. Dominance is communicated through a large, fleshy throat flap, bobbed rapidly up and down in a display others read instantly, no sound required. When that alarm fires, an iguana can drop 40 to 50 feet, hit solid ground, and walk away unharmed. Water isn't a barrier either. They swim by whipping their bodies and tails and filter excess salt through special nasal glands, sneezing out a salty mist instead of sweating. Females lay up to 70 eggs in communal ground nests, and the moment hatchlings emerge, they are entirely on their own. No guidance, no protection, no parent in sight. What makes it even harsher is that adults have been known to eat juveniles of their own kind. So for a young iguana, the most dangerous predator may look just like it. A fully grown adult can reach 6 feet from nose to tail tip and live for over 20 years, outlasting nearly every other reptile sharing this forest floor. High above their sunlit branch, something sharp-eyed and opportunistic is already circling. The crested Caracara, an intelligent hunter that never misses a meal hiding in plain sight. This bird is technically a falcon, sitting in the same family as the peregrine, but it spends as much time walking on the ground as it does flying through the Costa Rican sky. Its legs are unusually long for a bird of prey, built for running across open ground instead of diving from above, giving it the body of a raptor and the habits of something far less predictable. The bare skin on its face shifts colour in seconds, from pale yellow to intense crimson, depending on stress or excitement, making its mood easy to read in real time. It steals food straight from feeding vultures, flips rocks and debris with its beak for hidden insects, and raids turtle nests on the beach without hesitation. Unlike almost every other bird of prey, Caracaras have been observed using tools, kicking burning embers away from grass fires to expose fleeing prey underneath. They mate for life. And share parenting duties equally, with both adults actively building the nest, incubating eggs, and feeding chicks, a level of partnership rare among raptors. Right now, one of them is already on the move, dropping low over open ground, scanning every inch of the beach ahead for whatever the tide or the forest has left behind. The hunting approach is built around patience rather than speed. A Caracara stations itself at an elevated point, rotates its head to track every movement below, and waits, then drops directly onto the target without a prolonged chase. On nesting beaches, it reads disturbance patterns in the sand, locating recently laid clutches and digging methodically with both beak and feet. It is the only falcon in the country conducting this kind of detective work on the ground, and it is exceptionally good at it. But not all danger in this forest comes from the skies. Within the dense foliage, perfectly still, threats can be hidden just away. The red-eyed tree frog spends its days pressed flat against a leaf, its green body blending so well into the surface, it nearly disappears. Those famous red eyes aren't for seeing in the dark. They snap open in a sudden flash of colour that startles predators just long enough for the frog to escape. This is startle coloration, a simple split-second delay in a predator's reaction that the frog turns into survival. The real engineering is in its feet. Each toe is covered in microscopic, mucus-coated cells that create a wet grip strong enough to cling to vertical glass. It has no venom, no toxins, and no physical defences. Its survival depends entirely on invisibility and sudden shock. At night it becomes an active canopy hunter, chasing moths, crickets and flies with a tongue that strikes faster than a blink. Eggs are laid on leaves overhanging water, where embryos can sense vibration and hatch early if danger approaches, dropping into the water below. Males are much smaller than females and spend mating season calling from the water's edge, competing only through volume and rhythm. A single female can lay several clutches in one season, placing each on a different leaf to spread the risk of loss. From the world above the water, everything leads down to the river itself. The Tarcoles River runs about 69 miles before reaching the Pacific coast. A survey of its lower stretch recorded crocodile densities of about 31 animals per mile of river, one of the highest concentrations ever measured anywhere on Earth. The American crocodile isn't the same as the alligator. It's longer, leaner, and far more salt-tolerant, moving easily between rivers, estuaries, and the open coast of Costa Rica. It hunts by holding position just below the surface, with only its eyes and nostrils visible, waiting for prey to step close enough to the water's edge that retreat becomes impossible. Skin along the jaw is packed with pressure sensors so precise it can detect a single drop of water landing nearby, turning the river itself into part of its senses. Its jaw has one of the strongest bite forces ever recorded, yet the muscles that open it are so weak, a rubber band can hold it shut. All that power only works one way. The strike itself lasts less than a second, an explosive lunge that covers several feet of open ground before most animals have registered that anything moved at all. Their diet is wide, mostly fish and crabs, but large adults have been known to take white-tailed deer, herons, bats, and even the occasional dog that comes too close at night. Despite its reputation, the American crocodile is less aggressive toward humans than its relatives, and in the Tarcoles River, boat guides pass within feet of resting adults every day. Lying in mud isn't laziness. During the hottest months, crocodiles dig burrows in the banks to escape the heat, and those same burrows later store water for smaller animals in the dry season. River turtles share the Tarcoles and its tributaries with American crocodiles in what looks, from a distance, like coexistence. And it isn't peaceful, it's just managed. Groups bask on logs in tight clusters, rotating slowly to maintain sightlines, and drop into the water the moment a shadow changes overhead. Watching them pile onto a single log, eyes half closed in the afternoon heat, it looks like a retirement community. It is not. Every turtle on that log is running a constant calculation: warmth gained versus exposure risk. And the moment that balance shifts, they vanish into the water. They navigate back to specific river stretches using geomagnetic orientation, the same broad mechanism sea turtles use for ocean navigation, scaled down to a river corridor. A few degrees warmer means more females. A few degrees cooler means more males. For these turtles, climate change directly skews the sex ratio of the next generation. The journey back to the same bank, season after season, happens through a gauntlet of coatis, raccoons, caracaras, and crocodiles that all know exactly where the nests are. Beneath the same bank where she nested, the next generation is already moving, hatchlings breaking through the sand, tiny and exposed, driven only by instinct toward unseen water. In tight groups, they surge toward the river, across open sand, fully exposed to everything watching from above. They have no defences yet, no armour, no toxins, no way to fight back, only speed and numbers to rely on. Most won't make it, but those that reach the water do so within minutes of hatching, having already survived their most dangerous moment. In these exposed riverbanks, survival often comes down to one thing: escape. The green-plumed basilisk has earned a name, Jesus Christ Lizard, and the reason is exactly what it sounds like. When a predator closes in, it doesn't climb, it doesn't hide. It sprints directly onto the surface of open moving water and runs across it for up to 15 feet before sinking. Each foot slaps down at roughly 20 beats per second, generating a small air pocket before the water closes in, producing just enough upward force to carry the next stride forward. The timing allows absolutely no error. If the foot exits the water a fraction too slowly, drag increases instantly and the lizard sinks mid-sprint. Juveniles outperform adults on water every single time because their foot surface area is large relative to their body weight. Only adult males carry all three crests, one on the head, one along the back, and one down the tail, while females carry only a small head crest. When water running fails, the basilisk dives and holds its breath for up to 30 minutes underwater. It eats almost anything it can catch: insects, small fish, flowers, and the occasional smaller lizard, making it one of the most adaptable feeders along Costa Rica's riverbanks. Not every riverbank creature relies on speed. The blue land crab moves at its own pace, slow, deliberate, and completely unbothered by everything the basilisk just ran from. It lives mostly on land despite being a crab. Breathing through moist gills it must keep wet, carrying its own water supply wherever it goes. Its shell ranges from vivid blue to purple and orange, making it one of the coast's most eye-catching crustaceans and easy to spot along muddy riverbanks at dusk. Those large front claws aren't just for defence, they tear through fallen fruit, dead leaves, and carrion with the efficiency of a much larger animal. Blue land crabs dig burrows up to 5 feet below the surface into riverbanks and coastal soil, building tunnel systems they return to daily, a permanent home in one of the most flood-prone environments. They're prey for almost anything bigger, Raccoons, coatis, crested caracaras, and large herons all hunt them, yet their numbers and burrowing speed keep their population stable year after year. Females carry egg clusters under their abdomen for weeks before releasing them. The moment the eggs hit salt water, their job is done. The larvae are on their own. Once a year, thousands migrate to the ocean's edge to release eggs into the surf, crossing roads, fields, and forests in a mass movement that stops traffic across coastal Costa Rica. That migration is timed precisely to the lunar cycle, triggered by the same tidal pull that governs the ocean, a biological clock accurate enough to predict the date weeks in advance. Standing perfectly still at the water's edge, watching the shallows with endless patience, is the little blue heron, a hunter that turns stillness into its sharpest weapon. It stalks prey by lifting each foot with extraordinary care, placing it back down without creating a single ripple, then freezing again. What makes it truly clever is that it uses its own shadow as a tool, spreading one wing to shade the water, cutting glare, sharpening its vision, and drawing small fish into the darker patch below. When a target is locked, the strike is launched from a fully coiled neck in a fraction of a second, the long neck acting like a spring that releases all at once. It doesn't just eat fish. Frogs, small crabs, insects, and even tiny lizards along the riverbanks are all fair targets, making it one of the most versatile wading hunters in the region. That behaviour is called canopy feeding, and only a few bird species have evolved it independently, placing them among rare problem-solving hunters. Most little blue herons arrive in Costa Rica in September and leave by April, but some juveniles never return, turning migration into more of a suggestion than a schedule. While some hunters rely on stillness and precision, others depend on power and stealth to control their territory. The jaguar is one of the largest cats in the world, a solid, muscle-dense animal, built less like a sprinter and more like a heavyweight that doesn't need to run far. Costa Rica holds one of the last remaining connected populations in Central America, with the Osa Peninsula acting as one of its final strongholds in the entire region. No two jaguars carry the same spot pattern. The rosettes on every individual are as unique as a fingerprint, meaning researchers can identify specific animals from camera trap photos alone. Some of them are born black, not a different species, but the same animal with a genetic trait that fills their coat with dark pigment, though their rosettes still show in direct light. Males hold territories up to 50 square miles, patrolling them regularly and marking them with scent, scratches and calls, a clear warning to other males. Tree scratching is a communication system. A jaguar drags its claws down a trunk to leave marks, spread scent, and sharpen its claws, turning one tree into a message board for others. Its roar isn't a roar at all. It's a low, cough-like call that carries through the night forest, marking territory and locating mates over surprising distances. Unlike most big cats, they seek out water. They patrol rivers, cool off in them, and have even been recorded diving underwater to hunt. Despite being apex predators, they face real pressure. Forest fragmentation, road collisions, and conflict with ranchers have pushed Costa Rica's population to critically low levels. Moving into the shallows with complete focus, the jaguar is about to show why water isn't a barrier for it, but a hunting ground. It wades through rivers and shallows not just to travel, but actively to hunt, targeting caimans, capybaras and peccaries with a patience that makes the ambush look inevitable in retrospect. A kill is rarely finished at once. The carcass is dragged into cover and returned to over several days, with the jaguar resting nearby to guard it from scavengers. Further along the bank, tall, white and impossibly still, the great egret resumes its own patient wait for whatever the water offers next. Standing nearly 3 feet tall, with a wingspan stretching up to 5 feet, one of the largest wading birds in Costa Rica, and completely impossible to miss. Yet that brightness is deceptive. In direct sunlight bouncing off the water, the white plumage can make it nearly invisible to fish looking up from below. During breeding season it grows long, trailing feathers so dramatic that hunters nearly wiped egrets off the map just to put them on hats. The backlash that followed helped launch the modern conservation movement, and its silhouette later became the symbol of the Audubon Society, where it still sits today. Come nesting season, that territorial streak disappears. Great egrets crowd into noisy colonies with other heron species, sharing trees in chaos that's nothing like the composed hunter at the water's edge. During peak breeding season, the skin around its eyes turns bright lime green, a sudden vivid colour that looks painted on, then fades back to dull yellow-green within weeks. For now, though, the colony is far from its mind. The egret takes one slow, deliberate step forward into the shallows, and the real business of the day is about to begin. Each step is placed with extraordinary care. No splash, no ripple, no warning, because even the slightest disturbance can alert every fish nearby. The S-curved neck is already held in tension, a loaded spring waiting for release. When the moment comes, the bill spears forward in a single precise thrust, faster than any fish can react. Prey is taken head first and swallowed in one motion, disappearing before the water even settles. Beyond pure hunting, it also stirs the bottom with its feet to flush out hidden fish, and will even follow otters, alligators, and other disturbances to take advantage of whatever they uncover. Some hunters rely on stillness and patience, but further along the bank, the next creature brings speed, chaos, and raw energy that makes the egret look effortless. The Neotropical River. Otter moves through water with a kind of ease that looks less like swimming and more like showing off. Its body is purpose-built for the chase. Flattened tail, webbed feet, and a shape that lets it reverse direction mid-pursuit without losing a single beat on a fleeing fish. The fur is so densely packed that water never reaches the skin. Air stays trapped in the layers, keeping the it warm and dry no matter how long it stays under. It can seal its ears and nostrils completely shut and hold its breath for up to 8 minutes. A fully self-contained hunting machine the moment it dives. Fish aren't the only thing on the menu. Frogs, crustaceans, and even small caimans are fair game, making the river otter one of the most adaptable predators along the waterways. Here's where it gets clever. They herd fish into shallow corners of the riverbank before lunging, using the river's own geography as the trap. Families travel loud, chirping, whistling, and squeaking non-stop, using constant contact calls so that sudden silence almost always means something nearby has spooked them. Pups are born terrified of water, and the mother has to physically drag them in for their first swimming lesson, which, given what they become, is one of nature's better plot twists. A sighting along any Costa Rican river is increasingly rare. Reduced range and hunting pressure have made this one of the country's most quietly disappearing mammals. From the rivers below, riding a thermal without a single wing beat, another hunter is already watching, the swallow-tailed kite, cutting across the sky on wings that barely move. Seen up close, its stark white body, jet black wings and long forked tail make it one of the most elegant birds flying over Costa Rica right now. In flight, that forked tail makes micro corrections dozens of times per second, letting the kite hold position over a target with almost no effort and no stalling. It never lands to eat, snatching dragonflies, tree frogs and lizards straight off branches and consuming them mid-air as if the ground simply doesn't matter. Nor does it pause to drink, instead skimming the river at full speed, dipping its bill into the surface and lifting away with a single clean pass. Each year, it leaves the country entirely, migrating thousands of miles to South America, one of the longest seasonal journeys made by any raptor in the Western Hemisphere. Before departure, hundreds gather in the same trees for days, swirling and building numbers, then vanish south overnight as if on a silent signal. Above them, the nest is built high in the canopy from moss and sticks, bound with spider silk. Possibly the most delicate structure any bird of prey entrusts with its eggs. Back in the canopy, the white-faced Capuchin is running the forest's most active intelligence operation. Where the Howler broadcasts and the Squirrel monkey scouts, the Capuchin experiments, picking up rocks, prying bark apart, banging things together until something works or breaks. Its brain-to-body ratio ranks among the highest of any monkey in the Americas. And on problem-solving tasks, it performs at levels comparable to great apes. In Costa Rica, troops rub live millipedes across their fur, deliberately targeting specific areas to extract compounds that repel mosquitoes and botflies. Not instinct, but learned medicine. Some troops do this, others don't. The same goes for tail sucking, hand sniffing, and eye-poking rituals passed down for generations for no clear reason beyond simple imitation. Group members who find food but don't call others get punished, a form of social enforcement most researchers assumed only humans practiced. Alliances shift, favours are remembered, and individuals who repeatedly fail to cooperate get quietly pushed to the outside of the group. White-faced Capuchins practice alloparenting. The whole troop helps raise infants. Both males and females carry babies, especially at 4 to 6 weeks, while the mother rests or forages. When a new alpha takes over, he sometimes kills unweaned infants, the same ones the group had been raising together, because it speeds up the females returning to breeding. That intelligence, though, has a hard edge, and when something pushes one too far, the shift from curious to dangerous happens faster than most animals here are ready for. A displaying Capuchin is impossible to misread. Teeth bared, body bouncing, screaming at full volume, and hurling anything within reach at the threat. Shake branches, throw debris, and charge in bursts of coordinated chaos, often enough to drive off boas, raptors, and even a jaguar. A single Capuchin is mostly bluff and attitude. A troop of 30 turns that bluff into something far harder to ignore. Below them, observers describe debris, waste and noise raining from the canopy, an experience that only gets more convincing up close. When the forest finally cuts to silence, a flash of colour slices through the canopy. The Keel-Billed toucan, carrying one of nature's most improbable bills, unfazed by the chaos below. Its call sounds nothing like a bird, a loud, repetitive croak like a tree frog that carries up to half a mile through the forest, so you'll almost always hear it before you see it. That bill stretches up to 6 inches long, roughly a third of its entire body, painted green, orange, red and blue, looking less like a beak and more like something designed on a dare. It weighs almost nothing, hollow inside, built from a lightweight honeycomb of bone that gives it strength without the weight. Those blood vessels release excess heat, turning the bill into a built-in radiator that keeps the toucan cool in Costa Rica's humid treetops without panting. Every meal is a small performance. It flips food into the air, grabs fruit with its bill, tosses it up, and swallows it at the back of its throat, since its long bill can't move food straight inward. The diet goes well beyond fruit. Lizards, tree frogs, insects, small snakes, nestlings, and eggs are all on the menu. That same bill also raids nests, threatens rivals, and gathers fruit. A single tool stretched across multiple jobs, none perfectly specialised. To sleep, it folds the whole bill back over its body and tucks it under one wing, compressing into a surprisingly small ball inside a tree hollow. Toucans are genuinely poor flyers, moving through the canopy in short, bounding hops, which means the moment the forest becomes fragmented, they get stranded. That makes them one of the most reliable indicators of forest health. Where toucans vanish, the trees have already been cut too far apart to support their movement. High above, something far larger is already circling. The king vulture, wearing a face only a rainforest could produce, cleaning up everything the other animals leave behind. They are completely silent rulers of the sky. No call, no announcement. Just a shadow crossing the forest below that every animal instinctively registers. The head is completely bald and covered in skin that runs orange, red, yellow, purple, blue, pink, and grey all at once. That colour display is functional. The large, fleshy growth above the beak doesn't fully develop until the bird's 4th year. It can't vocalise. It has no vocal organ at all. It communicates through posture, movement, and sheer size, producing only a low, hollow croak when forced. What's crazy is that the king vulture has almost no sense of smell. It finds carcasses by watching turkey vultures below, then drops in and pushes them off the kill they found. With a wingspan over 6 feet and top rank at every carcass, no other vulture challenges it. It lands and everything else moves. When it arrives at a carcass, it goes directly for the eyes. The one soft entry point already exposed before the hide opens, requiring no tearing and no waiting. Its stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve bacteria that would kill most other animals outright. Despite their commanding presence in the sky, they are surprisingly gentle parents, raising just one chick a year, with both adults sharing incubation and feeding it for over a year. To cool down, it defecates on its own legs. Evaporation draws heat from the body, a method that's either highly effective or deeply unappealing, depending on your view. Somewhere between the canopy and the leaf litter, in a section of bark or a cluster of twigs that looks exactly like every other section, the stick insect takes over. The disguise goes beyond shape. It sways gently as it moves, mimicking the rhythm of a branch in the breeze, so even motion doesn't give it away. When a predator grabs a leg, the leg simply detaches and grows back at the next molt, a sacrifice so routine, the stick insect seems genuinely unbothered by the whole thing. Females can reproduce without males entirely, producing eggs that hatch into genetic copies of the mother. Some species have gone generations without a single male showing up. When cornered, some species flash hidden wings in sudden bursts of colour, an independent version of the red-eyed tree frog's startle trick. Most people walk past dozens of stick insects daily in the forests without noticing a single one. Where the stick insect survives by disappearing, the next creature does the opposite, hiding in Costa Rica's cloud forest and looking almost too extraordinary to be real. The resplendent Quetzal carries tail feathers up to 3 feet long, longer than its own body, trailing through the mist like a special effect nobody turned off. Males grow those tail feathers only for breeding season, then lose them completely, spending half the year looking like an entirely different bird. When nesting, the male's tail is so long it hangs out of the tree hollow entrance, a flag that marks the nest for every predator in the area. Despite those feathers, flight isn't affected. The plumes trail freely through forest gaps without catching or dragging. In the air, it hovers and stalls mid-flight to pluck fruit from branch tips, a precision most birds its size can't match. That green isn't even pigment. It comes from microscopic feather structures that bend light into shifting tones of emerald and gold. From certain angles, it can even appear brown, as the same structure stops reflecting light the same way. It eats wild avocados whole, regurgitates the seed, and quietly rebuilds the cloud forest one meal at a time, without ever intending to. Beyond wild avocados, they eat at least 41 fruit species a year, but also take wasps, ants, frogs, and small lizards, especially when feeding chicks that need extra protein. On the forest floor, an entirely different kind of operation is already running. Leafcutter ants, moving in lines that never break. Carrying the forest one piece at a time. They don't eat the leaves, they shred them, carry them underground, and use them as compost to grow a specialised fungus that the entire colony feeds on instead. That fungus is fully domesticated. It exists only inside their colonies. Like corn or bananas, it can't reproduce on its own and would vanish without the ants. A mature colony in Costa Rica can hold up to 8 million individuals, strip a tree overnight, and build tunnels up to 8 meters underground, the largest insect-built structure on Earth. The workers are divided into strict castes, the smallest 10 fungus gardens, mid-sized cut and carry leaves, and soldiers at the front have jaws strong enough to cut human skin. Some workers ride on the leaf fragments, not resting, but scanning for parasitic flies trying to lay eggs on the carriers below, acting as living bodyguards for the transport line. The system is ruthless. Waste dump workers are chemically marked, live half as long, and are attacked if they enter clean tunnels. The colony enforces strict quarantine with 0 exceptions. A single leafcutter trail can stretch over 150 metres, worn so heavily by constant traffic it looks like it was made by a much larger animal. The queen can live for over 20 years, outlasting her workers and producing offspring across her lifetime, the longest-lived insect queen on Earth. Not all foragers down here are small. Larger mammals work the same forest floor, and the white-nosed coati moves through it with very different tools and a very different agenda. But not all foragers are small. Larger mammals also roam the forest floor in search of food. It is actually a raccoon that went fully tropical, related to the raccoon family, equally comfortable raiding fruit trees, termite mounds, or even an unattended tourist backpack. That long, flexible snout rotates 60 degrees in any direction, probing under bark and into soil, with a sensitivity that finds hidden prey entirely by touch and smell. Males spend most of the year alone, solitary and territorial, while females form groups of up to 30, moving, foraging, and raising young together. Those bands aren't casual. They mob predators, share food, and raise each other's young in a level of cooperation you wouldn't expect from something that looks this goofy. Up in the trees, it climbs as easily as it walks, using its ringed tail for balance and descending headfirst with complete control. It carries near immunity to several local pit viper venoms, letting it forage through the same leaf litter where snakes hide, without the caution most animals here are forced to maintain. When one coati raises its tail straight up, the entire band freezes within seconds. A single signal that stops everything with no sound required. Meanwhile, with its nose pointed firmly at the ground, the search is already underway, one flip of debris at a time. The menu shifts with whatever the forest offers. Beetles, grubs, scorpions, frogs, lizards, fallen fruit, and eggs all get the same level of enthusiasm. It doesn't cache, carry, or plan ahead. Each find is decided in the moment by scent, covering enough ground daily that returning to the same patch is rarely needed. When something is found, there's no hesitation. It pins the target with both forepaws and delivers a single clean bite, rarely needing a second attempt. Yet size is no guarantee of survival. Some of the most effective strategies depend on remaining almost completely unseen. The glass-winged butterfly has no colour in its wings at all. The membrane is fully transparent, showing whatever is directly behind it, making it nearly invisible in flight. Across the wing surface, microscopic structures eliminate reflection entirely. No glint, no shimmer, no giveaway in direct sunlight. From most angles, it also leaves almost no shadow, appearing as a faint distortion moving through the forest understory. When in motion, however, the effect weakens. Its wings and body become faintly visible, which is why it flies in short, irregular bursts. In addition, the transparent surface is waterproof. The same nanostructures that remove reflection also repel water, keeping it functional in frequent rain. As a caterpillar, it feeds on toxic plants and carries those toxins into adulthood, making the butterfly poisonous to eat, hard to spot, and chemically defended. In contrast, the next resident of this forest is impossible not to notice. The scarlet macaw, blazing through the canopy in red, yellow and blue, announcing itself long before it arrives. That bright colour is thought to signal health and strength to potential mates. The bolder the plumage, the stronger the impression it makes. The beak is powerful enough to crack open seeds that would defeat a pair of metal pliers, yet precise enough to peel a single grape without breaking the skin. That same beak is also a third limb, used to grip branches, climb and haul the bird's own body weight upward through the canopy with ease. Scarlet macaws are among the few wild animals that recognise individual human faces and hold on to those memories for years. Cognitive tests place them at roughly the same level as a 3 to 4-year-old child on problem solving, memory, and tool use tasks. Different flocks across Costa Rica speak in distinct dialects, called patterns that are learned, not inherited, passed down through generations the same way human accents are. These parrots pair for life, and when a mate dies, the survivor may withdraw from breeding for extended periods, showing little interest in finding a replacement. That loyalty runs so strong, it shapes everything about how they move through the forest. Always close, always together, never far from the one bird they chose, above all others. And it's that bond, quiet, deliberate and tender, that shows most clearly when the forest slows and two macaws sit side by side, needing no words at all. Preening isn't just grooming, it's a daily confirmation of trust, one bird carefully working through another's feathers, as if to say, I'm still here, and I still choose you. They greet each other vocally every morning, a distinct exchange between partners that differs from any other sound in the flock. Macaws within a flock form a clear social hierarchy, and a bird's rank is often shaped by the strength and stability of its pair bond. A bonded pair moves so closely in sync that one rarely takes flight without the other following within seconds. Even in play, that connection holds. Chasing, mock wrestling with beaks, and hanging upside down together well into adulthood. When a pair stops preening, the change is immediate. Bonded macaws that lose their connection become louder, more aggressive, and visibly unsettled. While they build bonds, the agouti just builds the forest, one buried seed at a time, completely unaware of how important it actually is. The agouti is one of the only animals with teeth strong enough to crack open a Brazil nutshell, a seed so hard it defeats almost every other creature that tries. It doesn't eat everything it finds, though. It deliberately buries extras across the forest floor of Costa Rica as a personal food pantry for leaner times. Many of those buried seeds are never recovered, and those forgotten caches quietly grow into new trees. Its memory for hidden food is impressive, relocating buried seeds across a wide area with remarkable accuracy, but not perfectly, and the forest depends on what slips through the gaps. The agouti is also a scatter hoarder, spreading its seeds across many hidden spots instead of storing them in one place. It is intensely territorial and will chase off other agoutis on sight, yet somehow its fiercest competition often comes from other species that have learned to follow and raid its hiding spots. When frightened, it freezes completely before bolting in a fast, zigzagging sprint that makes it extremely difficult to track through the undergrowth. But even the most careful foragers are never truly safe, because silent hunters are always nearby. The boa constrictor doesn't chase, doesn't rush, and doesn't need to. It picks a spot in the forest undergrowth, stays completely still, and simply waits for prey to walk close enough. Its pattern scales match bark and shadow so precisely that a fully grown boa can hang in plain sight above a busy forest trail and go completely unnoticed. On the ground it moves just as quietly, sliding through leaf litter in near silence while using heat-sensing pits along its jaw to detect warm-blooded prey, even in total darkness. Through the branches, it shows the same control, gripping with its lower body while the front reaches forward, flowing from one limb to the next like a slow, deliberate current. When it strikes, the attack is over in a fraction of a second. The coils are already wrapping before the prey has registered what happened. It doesn't crush bones. It squeezes just tightly enough to stop the heart, tightening only when its prey exhales, making escape physically impossible. It has no venom, no special weapon, and no speed, just patience, pressure, and a jaw that can stretch wide enough to swallow prey far larger than its own head. After a large meal, it can go weeks without eating again, its metabolism slowing to a crawl while it digests in stillness. Essentially a log with a plan. While the boa rules the forest floor, another animal works in the open. The 9-banded armadillo, shuffling through leaf litter in natural armour, digging for food one sniff at a time. That armour is made of bone, covered in tough skin, arranged in overlapping bands that allow it to bend and move freely, while staying protected across its back and sides. The underside remains soft, which is why it doesn't curl into a ball when threatened. Instead, it bolts and digs into the ground at surprising speed. Its nose does most of the work, detecting insects buried inches below the surface and turning it into one of the most efficient underground foragers in the forest. Powerful, curved claws then take over, punching through compact soil in seconds to pull out beetles, grubs, and ants before they can escape. Despite its armour and digging skill, it is still prey for large cats and boas, relying less on strength and more on unpredictability and speed. Poor eyesight is offset by sharp hearing, allowing it to pick up the faint vibrations of insects moving underground before they break the surface. It also has an unusually low body temperature for a mammal, leaving it sensitive to cold and uniquely linked to the transmission of leprosy in the wild. They are among the few mammals that reuse the same paths night after night, carving visible trails through the undergrowth that other small animals often follow. Where the armadillo digs and darts, the next creature moves with total calm. The tapir, large and unhurried, quietly shaping the forest as it spreads seeds with every step. Closely related to horses and rhinoceroses, its pig-like appearance is one of the more misleading first impressions in the animal kingdom. A short, flexible snout functions like a small trunk, grabbing leaves, pulling fruit from branches, and guiding food into its mouth with surprising precision. Across the forest, it consumes an enormous variety of plants, swallowing seeds whole and depositing them far from the parent tree, effectively replanting the forest day after day. Much of its life is also tied to water, where it cools down, escapes insects, and avoids predators, moving through rivers with a grace its bulk on land doesn't suggest. Tapir calves are born with spotted, striped coats that break up their outline on the forest floor, but these markings fade within months. Despite their gentle nature, a threatened tapir is dangerous, capable of a powerful bite and a charge through dense undergrowth that stops most animals. Yet calm as this forest feels, a predator is already watching. The cougar, motionless in the shadows, waiting for exactly the right moment. It survives not through dominance, but adaptability, shifting its behaviour, diet, and movement to match the forest. Almost entirely solitary, individuals hold large territories, with females raising young alone after brief mating encounters. Those ranges can span distances large enough to overlap human cities, patrolled and marked long before any confrontation occurs. Communication comes not through roars, but through whistles, chirps, and high-pitched screams that carry through the forest at night. Its power sits in the hind legs, oversized and built for explosive bursts rather than pursuit, enabling sudden launches from complete stillness. In Costa Rica, it shares space with jaguars but rarely clashes with them, reading scent and tracks before quietly adjusting its route. When resting, it favours elevated ledges or thick branches with clear sightlines, sleeping in short bursts while its ears track sound independently. Scent marking is reinforced with visible scrapes, raking up leaves and soil along regular patrol routes to signal ownership across their territory. Despite being a top predator, it still loses kills to jaguars, large caimans, and even bold packs of peccaries, making survival a constant negotiation between confidence and caution. And it's that caution, that slow, calculated approach, that defines the cougar, low to the ground, eyes locked forward, committed before its prey even notices. The stalk is timed precisely to the prey's own movement. It advances only when its target is walking or looking away, then freezes completely the instant that head turns up. It is essentially playing a game of red light, green light, with something's life on the line, and it never loses. After a kill, the cougar covers the carcass with leaves, soil, and debris, hiding it so it can return over the next few days instead of eating it all at once. The cache is remembered through scent and memory alone, invisible to every other animal. A hidden meal left exactly where it was, waiting between visits. Back at the den are different energy builds. Cubs with no hunting experience yet already practicing, wrestling and pouncing, one clumsy leap at a time. Born with blue eyes and spotted coats that fade as they grow, they look like oversized house kittens before slowly shifting toward independence and becoming forest predators. Every pounce on a sibling, an ambush on a leaf looks like play, but it's actually hunting practice being hardwired into muscle memory before it's used on real prey. The mother shifts the den location regularly, never letting any predator learn where her cubs sleep long enough to act on it. But not every animal survives through stealth and strategy. Just ahead, the collared peccary does the opposite. It moves in groups, makes noise, and fears nothing. A herd moving through Costa Rica's forest is loud and deliberate, because when you travel with tusks and numbers, being seen is not a problem. Those tusks can crack hard seeds, slice through roots, and deliver a serious bite to anything that gets too close, including predators much larger than itself. They stay tightly connected through a scent gland on the back, constantly rubbing against one another to maintain a shared group odour that also functions as an instant alarm system. When threatened, they don't scatter. They close ranks and charge together, a response so committed that even cougars and jaguars back away from a determined herd. Despite looking exactly like a wild pig, the collared peccary isn't related to pigs at all. The resemblance is entirely coincidental. Their diet also includes toxic plants that would sicken most other animals, giving them access to food the rest of the forest simply cannot use. And following close behind the adults, barely steady on their feet but already keeping pace, the piglets are getting their very first lesson in what it means to be part of this family. Often called reds, they're born with a reddish-brown coat and a black stripe down the back, a natural camouflage that gives them just enough cover in their most vulnerable weeks. They stay pressed to their mother almost constantly, learning her scent first, because in a herd that communicates through smell, knowing who belongs is everything. When the group forages, the young mirror the adults, sniffing the same soil, nudging the same roots, copying every movement without understanding why. As these reds grow into the fearless, tusk-bearing animals the forest knows, Costa Rica moves on, unhurried, filled with small, extraordinary lives, each essential to everything around it. This is Costa Rica, a land of untamed beauty and wildlife at every turn. Now, if you don't want to miss the most extraordinary wildlife of Swiss Alps, check out this video.